Good morning, Raleigh. I'm Kayla G, and this is Rise and Unwind. Yes, we know it's a little early, but think of it as the calm before your day really gets going. We've got what's happening around town, what people are talking about, and a few things to help you wake up without needing that third cup of coffee yet. So stick with us. We'll ease you into the day the right way. This week, we've got this.
94% of those under 26 told us that when they used AI for benefits decisions, they actually trusted the recommendation.
Real CIA officers, retired, who have kind of given me their true north.
These small towns, they've been hit pretty hard by the economy in the last 40 years. They lost their factory.
All that and more right here on Rise and Unwind Raleigh.
Do you ever wonder what happens when love, family, and small town drama all collide? That's the heart of My Life with the Walter Boys. After a whirlwind first season, the story is back with even more twists, tension, and second chances. Joining us are Nikki Rodriguez, Noah LaLond, and Ashby Gentry, better known as Jackie, Cole, and Alex, to talk about season 2 and now streaming on Netflix. Welcome to the show, you three. How are you?
Thank you.
Doing
So
well.
good.
Good, thank you.
All right. Nikki, your character Jackie went through a lot this season. How does she approach coming back to Silver Falls after spending the summer in New York?
Yeah, I think, when she comes back to Silver Falls this time, I think she's ready to kind of face things head on a little bit. And I think she just wants to be like the perfect version of herself to kind of just make up for her past in a way. So I think that's her overall goal this season.
And Noah, Cole is stepping into a new role at school this season. What's it like to explore that side of him, and how does it affect his relationships?
Yeah, I think it was fascinating to step into that new side of him, because I think it's a version of himself that's taking ownership over his life after throughout season 1 there was a lot of directing blame on other people and kind of self-sabotaging. So I think, taking ownership of your path and allowing, that growth to happen and start to prepare to be who you want to be for other people in your life, your family, the people who you want to show up for. So that was it was a cool turn to take.
Ashby, and your character, Alex, seemed to have changed a lot since we last saw him. How did you prepare to show that growth, especially with his focus on rodeo training?
Well, I listened to a lot of cowboy podcasts and watched a lot of YouTube videos and walked through the park a lot. And the rest of it, you'll have to see on screen. Yeah.
The show is based on a beloved book, and it's taken a life of its own. What's been like interacting with fans and hearing from them and seeing how connected they are to your characters and the story?
I mean, it's been an absolute dream come true. I think you always hope that you're bringing the character, like you're doing justice in a way. And so it's just been really lovely, the response.
And is there anything that you are expecting or would hope that your audience will take from season 2?
Yeah, of course. I think I hope that they would take it. I hope that they would to take away some of the lessons that are to be yourself, to love hard and love your family, and just know that if tomorrow doesn't work out, the next day is always there.
All right, I want to thank you three for joining me this morning. Season 2 of My Life with the Walter Boys is streaming now on Netflix. Make sure you watch and catch all of the drama that's been unfolding in Silver Falls. Thank you three for joining me.
Thank you. Have a good one.
It's not every day you see daughters planning their mom's wedding, but that is exactly what this new series is all about. Mom the Bride flips the script and follows women helping their moms celebrate love later in life, from dress fittings to the big day itself. Erin Cahill hosts the series on Hallmark Plus, and she's joining us now. Erin, it's great to see you. How are you?
Hi, it's great to see you, Dan. Thanks for having me.
All right, this idea really flips the traditional mother of the bride role, but what stood out to you in this concept?
Oh, well, what you just said, it's really flipping the script on weddings. We're used to seeing, it's right there in the intro. We're used to seeing moms play on their daughters' weddings, but to see the daughters have the opportunity to do this for their mothers is honestly one of the sweetest things I've ever experienced in my life.
And each episode, it follows a different family. What kind of stories or moments can viewers expect to see?
Well, so it's 6 real mothers and daughters, 6 real weddings. And what you can expect to see is is everything you would anticipate with a wedding. You know, the excitement, the stress, but also like inspiration and joy. And you can expect surprises in every episode. We really set our mind to surprising the brides and the families. And it is such a joy-filled ride, and it's all the emotions. That's the other thing you can expect. You can expect happiness, tears, laughter, you know, and being really touched.
And you mentioned there's a lot of emotion packed into this. What surprised you the most while working with these moms and daughters?
You know, I was pleasantly surprised at how much it meant to everybody. I knew, you know, in my heart that would be the case, but to see these daughters just want to get it so right for their moms, and then to see the moms letting go of the steering wheel, you know, and saying, okay, yes, take care of me for once, thank you, was just so special. Honestly, it's such an honor and a joy to be part of this with them. Oh, like, I will never forget it. I'll never stop being grateful. I'm not over it. We were filming for 6 months and I'm not over it.
And you've been part of so many Hallmark projects. How does hosting a series like this compare to acting in one?
Oh, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. I've never done anything, you know, unscripted in this way. And so to get to, you know, to get to go to work every day. I say work because it was such a joy, but to get to go to work and be part of this. I mean, I got to, like, you know, go to like cake tastings and dress fittings and go to pick out venues. And it was such a blast. It didn't feel like work. It just truly felt like a gift. And I fell in love with each one of these families so purely. So by the time the weddings came around, I was like,
And the show really celebrates love a little later in life and
Yes.
family connection. What do you hope people take away after watching?
oh, I love that. You know, I hope that people feel inspired by what you just said, that connection, that family bond. I hope people feel, you know, mothers and daughters for sure. Of course, I hope you, you know, you get related back to your own love and you're like, oh, you want to call your mom and say, I love you. Or, you know, mothers call their daughters and say, I love you. But really it's about the whole family. I hope that people just feel so inspired about love and connection and family and celebrating that.
Erin Cahill, I really want to thank you for joining us today. Mom's the Bride is now streaming on Hallmark Plus, so you can watch the full series pretty much any time you feel. All right, Erin, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan.
A quiet little town, a substitute sheriff, and a bank robbery that turns into something way bigger than anybody expected. You know, that's the setup for Normal, the new neo-Western thriller starring Bob Odenkirk. He joins us to talk about playing Sheriff Ulysses, working with director Ben Wheatley, and why this story keeps taking turns you don't see coming. Welcome to the show, Bob. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Good to see you.
All right. What grabbed you first about Normal? Was it the character, the mystery, or just
it was exactly that. It was the mystery. You know, a lot of action films, they start with the action as quick as possible and then they just stay in action as much as possible with very little character development or story. But this story that Derek Kolstad told me about a small town in the Midwest, and they have money and there's no obvious reason why, and then it all explodes and we learn their secret. I love this story. I love the mystery sequence, which is the first 35 minutes. And then, of course, it's pure action for the rest of the film. I just like the story, the character development, the way in which it's kind of like 3 or 4 films in one. And so I said, let's do that one. Let's try to make that happen. We were very lucky to get Ben Wheatley, a great director who's made many films, Free Fire, High Rise, Kill List, a lot of action films, but he always has character in all of his films, a lot of people that you can relate to. And so he was the perfect man for the job.
And Sheriff Ulysses, it feels like somebody's just trying to keep it together while everybody around him is kind of unraveling. What did you enjoy most about playing that character?
Well, I like playing a guy who's my age. Now that doesn't sound like much to you, but I was Saul Goodman for, you know, essentially 8 or 9 years. And Saul was younger than me by a lot. He was 10, 15 years younger than me. And I like playing Ulysses in the movie Normal because Ulysses has seen a lot of life, and he's a little bit worn down by it. And I related to the guy. I liked him, and I liked his sense of humor. He had a smile. Things made him laugh. And so, yeah, I like playing the character.
And this movie has this grounded small town feel, but there's a lot of tension that's just like bubbling underneath the surface.
Yeah.
What was it like building that tone with Ben Wheatley?
That's the part that I worked on the most. And it's one of the reasons I get a story by credit on this film, is because I helped build out the story of that small town. Normal is the actual name of a town, Normal, Illinois. And the movie was originally called The Interim, as in interim sheriff, part-time sheriff, or fill-in sheriff. And I said, let's call it Normal, because that's the kind of town. And Derek knew what I was talking about because he's from Wisconsin. That's the kind of town in the Midwest that we want to describe. These small towns they've been hit pretty hard by the economy in the last 40 years. They lost their factory. They have factory farms that have taken over the smaller farms. And I wanted to tell the story of one of those towns that's somehow chanced upon this money.
And once the audience settle into this story, it kind of starts escalating in a lot of unexpected ways. What are you most excited for people to experience when they start to watch it?
Well, it's really a fun movie to watch with a group. If you're going to rent Normal, have some people over, have some friends over. The way in which the story shifts, as you point out, it changes. It's like tectonic plates shifting. The whole vision of what you're looking at becomes a different world. And all those moments where what happens to Henry Winkler and what happens with the champagne cork and what happens after that, those things get the audience going. Those are things to experience with a group. It's been a great, fun film to watch with other people.
All right, I really enjoyed the movie. It was such a blast. I had a fun time with that. Normal is available now on all digital platforms and will be available anywhere you rent movies. Bob, I want to thank you for joining me today, my friend.
Yeah, man, good to be here. Thanks.
A lot of action franchises try to go bigger every time, but Jack Ryan Ghost War is also digging into trust, loyalty, and what service really costs. The new film continues the world's fans already know while standing on its own for people jumping in fresh. And joining us today is the legendary Wendell Pierce, who returns as James Greer. Wendell, it's great to have you on the show, my friend. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, James Greer has always been one of the most grounded characters in this world. What do you enjoy most about stepping back into him for Ghost War?
The character of James Greer really reflects some of the people that I met doing the research of this character. Real CIA officers, retired, who have kind of given me their true north to form a more perfect union, and some of the debate that they have within the agency, and but understanding that the shared idealism of working on the mission, which is to form a more perfect union and protect that. Those are shared values. And so stepping back into the role, that's the thing that I'd love to portray. As an actor, you're a student of human behavior. And what you want to do is create the world so strong that it induces that behavior. And that's the great thing about reliving a role like James Greer.
One thing John Krasinski mentioned is that the story works for both longtime fans and for people who've never watched the series. Was that something you felt like while you were making it too?
Oh, absolutely. You don't have to be familiar with the series at all. You can come to this fresh. You will see the history that we have as characters. You will see our relationship. You will see our expertise. And then also you have this story of what's happening now, this casual act that I ask a favor of Jack Ryan to do for me that actually ignites a global espionage chase. And so it is one of those things that people who have seen the series can come to and appreciate the next level of where we take the characters, and people who come to this fresh and new. But what we do over the course of a series, put into a 2-hour movie, is just heightened and it makes it a lot more intense.
And you said it's been heightened, it's more cinematic, a little bigger, but it also keeps the political and moral tensions that Tom Clancy's stories are known for. What kind of balance does this film strike between action and some of the character?
Well, I think it's very important. I'm very proud of the fact that we keep the debate happening about the clarity of mission and clarity of what values are, and the political debate that happens around that, because that is happening within the world, what happens within the agency, and it makes you, as the viewer, look at it and decide what your values are. I mean, that's the forum of what filmmaking should be about, the place where we collectively come together, reflect on who we are, decide where we want to go, decide what our values are, maybe bring that into our lives. And so I love that we have that debate, and at the same time have some of the best cinematic thrill sequences of action comparable to the French Connection and Marathon Man and all of that. So I'm very proud of the cinematic and the debate that happens within the film.
And fans, they know you from so many incredible roles from over the years, but there's something about Greer that people really connect with. What do you think keeps audiences invested in this character and this franchise?
I try to make James Greer a everyman. That people look at it and go, there but by the grace of God go I. That they can see themselves in James Greer. He's a man of pragmatism. He's a family man. He's flawed as he tries and did not succeed in keeping his family together. But with all of that, he is principled. And he attempts to hang on to his principles and values. And people will see themselves in that, Not someone who's perfect, but someone who's pragmatic and at least tries to live by some sort of moral code. And that's who we all are, and that's who we are when we dream of who we can become. So that's the thing that makes him prescient, and personal. And that's what I pride myself on when I try to portray him.
Yeah, thanks for being here today. Jack Ryan, Ghost War premieres May 20th on Prime Video. Wendell Pierce, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Chances are you don't think much about what goes into keeping your home or workplace safe. But behind the scenes, building codes and safety professionals are working every day to protect the places we rely on, especially when it comes to disaster preparedness and making spaces accessible for everyone. Let's take a look.
Construction crews across the country are building stronger, safer homes and businesses guided by codes created by the International Code Council, or ICC. May is Building Safety Month, now in its 46th year, highlighting the impact of the ICC and the building codes and professionals behind them. CEO John Belsick says this year's theme, Built to Last, kicks off with simple ways you can get involved.
Building safety starts at home because that's where people spend most of their time. We often see that small issues like overloaded outlets, loose handrails, or blocked exits can turn into serious risks if they're not addressed. Building codes are a commitment to community safety. Many home dangers are preventable. Understanding common household hazards and prioritizing regular maintenance can protect families and their neighbors.
The ICC also highlights the professionals who help put those building codes into practice.
There's a whole network of professionals working behind the scenes, including inspectors, permit technicians, engineers, and code officials, and others. They make sure buildings are safe long before anyone walks through the door. These professionals identify potential risks early and ensure structures meet building codes to protect people every single day.
Another major focus this year is resilience, especially as communities face more severe weather and natural disasters. The ICC says modern codes can help support faster recovery after disaster strikes.
They're designed to reduce damage, protect the people inside, and help communities recover quicker after disasters like hurricanes or wildfires. Investing in modern building codes up front can make a huge difference.
Another important element, designing spaces for everyone to utilize and enjoy.
Communities without limits means designing buildings and public spaces that are usable, intuitive, and welcoming for people of all ages and abilities.
The ICC encourages you to get involved and has shareable resources on buildingsafetymonth.org. You can submit proclamations, join local community gatherings, reach out to local representatives to advocate for the latest codes, and more.
A lot of parents think nearsightedness just means their child needs glasses, but doctors say myopia can actually get worse over time and affect long-term eye health. The good news is there are newer treatment options that may help slow that progression in kids. Joining us now are pediatrician optometrist Dr. Damaris Raymondi and pediatrician Dr. Coralys Vega to explain what parents should know. Hi, doctors. How are you?
Hello. Hi.
So, Dr. Vega, for parents hearing the word myopia more often lately, what exactly is it and why are doctors becoming more concerned about it in children?
Well, myopia, also known as nearsightedness, is a very common vision condition where the objects that are close gonna be seen clearly, but the ones that are far gonna be seen blurry. It happens because the eyeballs start growing so long that it affects the focus of the object, so it's gonna be not seen good from far. It can be diagnosed during your routine well-child visit with your pediatrician. Sometimes also the parents can come with complaint that the kids are having issues to watch the TV. They have to be too close or the computer. And also they're gonna have issues with blinking. So it's very important to be diagnosed because if not, it's gonna affect the child development and also learning in school or practicing some sports. So it's very important to be diagnosed and treated.
And Dr. Raymondi, why does early treatment matter when it comes to protecting long-term vision?
So important to start treatment as soon as possible. So as Dr. Vega was mentioning, myopia is when an eyeball grows too long, too quickly. Now think of an eyeball that is stretching over time and getting longer. What's happening is that the very delicate tissues in the eye, like in the retina, can become damaged. And it can lead to issues like retinal detachments, glaucoma, myopic maculopathy, all of which can lead to irreversible vision loss. Fortunately, we do have treatments.
And a lot of parents may not realize there are newer options available now. What are some treatments that can help slow myopia progression for kids?
Well, we have MySight One Day, which is the #1 contact lens for kids. And it is the one and only FDA-approved option to help protect children's vision in the long term. So in the past, we only had regular glasses and regular contact lenses. What those do is that they help the child see the board. But MySight One Day contacts help the child see the board, and it helps slow down this rapid eyeball lengthening, and that way protecting the child's vision. And it's super effective, and I see it work every day in my practice.
And Dr. Vega, besides regular eye exams, what are some things families can do to protect their children's vision?
It's very important to know that this is a condition. As a condition, it needs treatment as soon as possible. So the best thing is to go to optometrist for their evaluation and get the proper treatment. If leave untreated, it's gonna let long-term sequelae in your kids. So it's very important to be treated.
And Dr. Raymondi, where can parents go if they want more information or help finding a doctor?
They can head on over mysight.com to learn more.
Dr. Raymondi and Dr. Vega, thank you both so much for joining us this morning.
Thank
you.
I think most people spend about 15 minutes picking workplace benefits, click submit, and then just hope the future made good decisions. Now there's new research from the Hartford showing that a lot of Americans aren't actually confident they chose the right coverage. And some are even using AI to help sort through it all. Laura Marzi from the Hartford is joining us this morning to talk about what people may be missing when it comes to benefits and financial wellness. Good to have you on the show, Laura. How are you?
Thrilled to be here. Thank you.
All right, so what stood out to you most from this year's Future of Benefits study?
Yeah, so at the Hartford, we ensure 1 in 8 working Americans are most likely in your neighborhood. And we built the Future of Benefits study to give us facts around what the reality looks like for workers as they're choosing benefits. And as you alluded to it, there's a lot going on in the economy right now, and there's some very interesting statistics that reflect that. First one, half of U.S. workers fear they can't afford everyday expenses. And those are the basics like gas or groceries or childcare. And the survey also told us that 43% of workers aren't sure how to choose benefits that help offset some of those costs. And that's creating real confusion and worry.
And I was really fascinated by the AI angle here. How are people actually using AI when they're trying to figure out the benefit decisions?
Yeah, so one thing to keep in mind, and you were talking about how much time people spend choosing benefits, the stat is actually pretty different. It's 7 to 8 minutes on average picking benefits. And one thing that the survey told us this year is that 75% of folks keep the same benefits year over year. And at the Hartford, we study that a lot because we want people to know that there could be some better options for you, including if you got recently married, maybe you got divorced or had a child. And that's where the education comes in and the trends around AI. The younger groups this time around, especially Gen Z, told us that they want to learn differently and they're turning to AI. And 94% of those under 26 told us that when they used AI for benefits decisions, they actually trusted the recommendation. Really, really interesting trend line for us. But I think the headline is that for all age groups, sentiment around AI is still really evolving. And we know it's going to continue to play a big role in how people want to become educated.
And it feels like a lot of people separate benefits from their everyday finances. But they really kind of go hand in hand now, don't they?
They do. So I think that the Hartford really should be known as being in the benefits business. We want to make sure that workers know the best ways to make their dollars stretch as far as possible. One tip that most people don't know about is around supplemental health benefits and how they can help your overall financial picture. I think most folks, when they're enrolling for benefits, assume that their medical plan will cover everything. And in reality, it doesn't. So I'll give you a quick example. Imagine you're a young parent and you're diagnosed with cancer. Not only are you facing the medical treatment, but you might be missing work, managing childcare, you may have to travel. Supplemental health coverage actually provides you a cash benefit. So it works alongside your medical benefits like a safety net, and it gives you a cash payment that you can use however you need. That could be for caring for an aging parent. Maybe there's a surgery planned, fertility treatments, or an unexpected injury. So when we're thinking about all that financial stress and how to choose, we want you to know that there are a lot more options, and we want you to have clarity on how all your benefits can work together.
And most people only think about this stuff during open enrollment week, and then we completely forget that it even exists.
Right.
Why is right now still an important time to revisit these choices?
Yeah, so we just got through tax season, and that's a time of reflection, I think, for a lot of folks and really thinking about their finances. And even though most work sites look at open enrollment as a season that happens in the fall, you can get in front of it. So the Hartford really likes to look at this time period as we're getting into the summer months as a great opportunity to learn more, be proactive, and look at all the benefits that are offered to you at work as part of a full financial picture. And if you do the homework now, either using AI, a benefits counselor, the materials that you might have on your employer's intranet site, you might find out that you have more financial support than you actually realize. And
for somebody watching who suddenly realizes, yeah, I should probably understand my benefits better, where should they start?
Yeah, a great starting place is thehartford.com. We have really great resources there that are easy to understand and will help you get in front of this year's enrollment season.
Laura Marzi, I really want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
Alrighty, Raleigh, that's going to do it for this week's Rise and Unwind. Hopefully you're feeling a little more awake, or at least one step closer to it. Thanks for starting your morning with us. And if you want more in between shows, you can always find us on socials at Rise Unwind, and we can keep hanging out. Until next time, have a great morning, Raleigh.